Okay, so for this juncture, we will going to talk about selecting educational communication media. So for the previous or for the past discussion, we talk about the meaning, we discuss about the meaning of educational communication. And right now, we're going to talk about selecting educational communication media. So by the word selecting, so magpili ta kung unsa man jud dapat pilion. And education by itself, learning or gaining some knowledge, and communication. Communication means the process of sharing your thoughts, ideas, and etc. And when we say media, it is the channel of communication. And when we say channel, it is the medium kung unsa to yung gigamit para mag-deliver og isa ka ideas or isa ka mensahe ba na diha through your target audience. Now, ato ang hanayon kung unsa man jud ang definition of educational media. So, educational media means print, digital, or electronic material providing or conveying information to the student or otherwise containing intellectual content and contributing to the learning process. So, it clearly stated naman the meaning of educational media that it provides or conveying information to the student. Mapa-print, when you say print, newspapers, tabloids, magazines, digital or electronic materials naman is yung mga cellphones natin, through radios, television, and etc. So as long as it provides and convey information, disseminate information, we can gain knowledge about it, then that is educational media. Next one is the definition of educational communication media. So educational communication media is an umbrella term that encompasses all speaking, listening, and rational constructs and concepts that relate to learning. In other words, it's all about learning because the word education means learning. So, in the past, researchers have been interested in the characteristics that increase or inhibit learning, teaching strategies that augment learning, and what should be taught in speech communication and media curricula by Staten Spicer and Wolf 1984. So, dati pa lang jud ay na ay mga research about knowing kung asa jud mas effective o kung asa jud mas mo increase ang attention sa isa ka bata when it comes to learning. So, they come up with the strategies kung unsa man tong mga way na mas effective ang learning, mga gamit, mga medias of communication para mas mapadali o mas maging fun ang pag-learn sa usa ka bata. And right now, na-discuss naman nato about meaning of educational communication media. Now, let's go to the role of educational communication in development. So, unsa man jud role ani nga nung magtuon man jud ta kung unsa to mga ways or strategies when it comes to educational communication and unsay connect ani niya when it comes to development. So, with its effective contributions, educational communication has the capacity to concretely help teachers to employ the educational goals of a higher education and recognize their societal impact as regards the intended outcomes of the educational system. Through this educational communication, tako dyan siya impact especially sa mga teachers. Kasi as a teacher, naman dyan sila mga expectations and goals, di ba nga, dapat makakatun jud ang usa ka bata pamaagi sa ilaha. Dapat at the end of the discussion, kahit konti na ay matunan. Di ba, mabala man nato kung effective ang learning if na jud tayo matunan. And as a result, na development na mahitabo about sa educational system. Selecting educational communication media, often a decision that development communicators have to make pertains to selecting the right or best medium for their particular communication purpose. Kasi nga, di ba, if sige kag tudlo diha without you knowing na wala na rin kasabot ang imuhang mga estudyante, then useless lang gihapon. Wala lang gihapon yung mahitabo. So, we need to choose or select the right or the best medium para makakatunjod ang isa ka estudyante or unsa to mga process or mga strategies na kailangan natong buhaton. And oftentimes, selecting media does not necessarily mean narrowing one's choice to only one medium. So, dili lang jud dapat ta mag-limit sa usa lang ka choice when it comes to choosing a medium. So, mas the more na clear ang choose nimo sa imong medium, mag-print out ba ka diha, mag-picture ba ka diha, or na ba kay mga videos na ipakita diha as long as masabtan og tarong sa imong mga estudyante, then that's perfectly fine. Communication research and practice have shown the merits of mixing media approaches wherein two or more media or channels are used in the combination of the supplement one another. Multimedia approaches allow message repetition and enforcement. They also take the best advantage of the potential of different media. So in other words, the next topic natin pag-uusapan is research has shown that the people learn from any medium, so big or little. So in learning di ay, makakatun jud ta bisag unsa pa na nga pamaagi diha. As long as kay natong sabton o kay siya i-process sa atong utok, mapapadako ba na siya diha nga medium nga iyang gigamit or gamay, as long as it is clear and concise, masabtan jud siya. For more practical purposes, or media channel must be based on the same factors considered in planning a communication, extension, or training program. So pag magtudlo man jud no ang isa ka teacher is naman jud na siya lesson plan na ginaingon nato. So dira nakahanay na tanan kung unsa man na iyang mga gamiton sa pagtudlo sa isa ka estudyante, kung unsa man tong mga ideas na iyang gustong i-share o unsa man tong mga lesson na dapat niyang i-give sa iyang mga estudyante. So this is the media, or this is because the media chosen for a learning system must fit the overall learning system plan or design. So dili jud dapat ka magpataka diha. So kailangan na naa kay lesson plan. So here are the 7 factors to be considered when selecting an educational communication media and development. So it should have instructional goals and objectives, learning tasks, learning strategy or approach, learning characteristics, resources, the nature of the media, and situational factors. Now, instructional goals and objectives, ato na siyang hanaayon diri na side. So, instructional goals and objectives when it comes to teaching or learning or giving some learnings to your students, you should have goals and objectives because it is the focal point of a lesson plan. It is the foundation upon which you can build lessons and assessments and instruction that you can prove meet your overall course or lesson goals. Diba? It is a foundation. Kasi kung wala kang goals and objectives, paano ka makakaturo? Or paano mo mabibigyan ng justice na maka-learn yung mga estudyante mo? If ikaw mismo hindi mo alam kung ano yung goals and objectives mo when it comes to teaching or when it comes to learning. So media selection assumes that preliminary steps in planning the communication. So when it comes to selecting your media, napakalaking step na yan siya sa process or planning in the communication sharing your ideas and your thoughts, diba? So it is very important. This means that goals have been identified and have been properly translated into behavioral objectives. This would enable the communication planner to determine which behavioral domain, whether cognitive, affective, or psychomotor, or interactive, she or he wants to affect or change. So, for the objectives of cognitive domain, any of the presentation media would be useful. When we say cognitive domain or cognitive, it involves the logical thinking, the reasoning, the reading, and gamit yun ang utok. So, any presentation media would be useful. Active learning includes the changing or reinforcing the values and attitude. So, naado dito mga moods and mga emotions of your students. Psychomotor learning can be easily attained if the media are used to demonstrate the skill to be learned or to guide practice sessions. So your agility, your skills, naadari. Also, other term for the psychomotor learning, development of organized patterns of muscular activities guided by the signals from the environment, demonstrated by the physical skills na ba kay ipabuhat diya nga included is physical activity, coordination, manipulation, grace, strength, speed actions with which demonstrate the fine motor skills such as use of precision instruments or tools. Interactive skills, as the term implies, these are the interpersonal communications skills which are not necessarily a monopoly of communication specialists. And again, the meaning of interpersonal communication is about your relationship between or your communication between other people. So, na skill about ang ana. If nag-devcom ka, niya maulawon ka, but with the right teaching is na hasa ka, mas nibaga imuhang nawong, na-learn na ka kung saan pag-communicate, and nakabalo na ka magduo mga public speaking. So interactive skills are the best mastered through channels such as role-playing, simulations, and games. So big help jud ang mga uban activities such as role-playing, being active sa mga school activities, mga quiz bee, mga debates, and etc. Next one is the learning task. In a learning task is a breakdown of an instructional objective. And in choosing the right medium for the message, for a message of learning tasks, consider the following questions. How comprehensive or lengthy is the material or task to be learned? How complex or simple it is? So the first question mo, dyan siya itong timaan. Minsan ra ba, pag too much ra pod nga taas kayo ang discussion is mo bored jud ang mga estudyante no, so tinuod jud na siya. And then kung medyo dali ra pod kayo, dili pod kayo matunan. Next is the material or task to be learned about ideas or concepts or about a how-to? So, dapat hanay jud ang tanan nimo na mga gustong ipang tudlo sa imong mga estudyante. Next is what are the appropriate message or the treatments in reaching the communication objective. Naman, unsa nimo pag-catch og mood sa imong mga estudyante kung unsa man tong the way ka mo communicate sa ilaha, the way ka mo handle sa imong lesson para sa ilaha. It is important also. Next one is learning strategy or approach. Ito na, unsa man itong mga strategy, mga ways para jud makatuon ang sa kabata. So the instructional objectives, tasks, as well as learning theories and principles will determine the approach or strategy of learning to be carried out. So it is once again, kailangan jud na ang nakay objectives and goals when it comes to learning. Para naman, nadyo'y patutunguhan or nadyo'y makatunan kamong tanan. A learning strategy is an individual's way of organizing and using a particular set of skills in order to learn content or accomplish other tasks more effectively and efficiently in school as well as non-academic settings by Schumacher and Daschler 1992. So by setting your strategy is very effective jud na siya. Kasi 'di ba, paglisod ang isa ka activity, example na nato ang math. Kung walay tarong kuan diha, kung dili pa na tarong ang pagkatudlo or kung wala jud na siya kinabutang nga kanang way step by step, maglisod jud og catch up ang usa ka estudyante. Mas maglisod jud siya taman instead nga dali lang utasab do ng usa ka butang, mas maging complicated pa siya kasi nga wala kay modes of media communication. So, strategy is very important. Next one is the learning characteristics. So, from the word characteristics, natin mga attitudes or wala ta kabalo kung kinsa man natong ginapang tudluan, kung fast learner ba na or slow learner ba na siya. So, a basic rule in communication is to know your audience. Kinsa man to imong mga audience. Thus, before choosing which instructional media to use. Kasi nga, di ba, kung ang imong mga estudyante or ang imong mga audience is kanang pang masa, or let's say nagkanda ka og symposium diha na side unya imuhang mga audience is dili kaayo kasabot og English but then sige kag English og storya diha, then walay learning na mahitabo, wala sila makasabot sa imo. So, as an educational communicator, you must be able to answer questions such as, who are your learners or who are the learners? And then, how large is the group? How large is the group para makabalo ka kung unsa ang capacity na imong i-handle. Kasi 'di ba malay nato nagprepare di kag flyers after sa imong demonstration niya, kulang di imong materials na imong gigamit. So it is important also to know how large is the group. Next, are the learners familiar with or in the favor of the learning tasks? Just like what I said kanina, if nag-conduct ka og kanang murag symposium or kanang meeting sa dako nga audience, and then mostly sa ilaha wala nakasabot og English, wala gyapon, useless. And lastly, what communication skills do the learners possess? So kabalo jud dapat ka kung unsa mas kasabot sila nga gamiton nimo nga communication para naman na jud sila masabtan, no, dili lang ta mag as if nakabalo mag English diya na sa yung imong mga audience kay wala kabalo. So knowing your audience and knowing kung unsa man imong gamiton nga language is important also. Next one is the resources. So resources means mga gamiton nimo para makakandak ka og isa ka butang. So resources consideration correspond to the cost vector in Schramm's 1997 framework of media selection. Resources includes funds, equipments, technicians, artists, and media producers which naturally be available if they are critical in designing a particular medium to be used. Consider the following guide questions. Number 1, what are the resources needed to be prepare a learning material? Halimbawa, once again, if maghatag ka og pahibalo para sa madla, then maghatag kag flyers. So magprint out ka, magpa-print ka og imong mga materials, then ihatag nimo sa ilaha. How much of these resources are available or not available? Importante po na siya. Considering the expected outcomes or the potential expenses worth it. So money, tanan-tanan. I-compute nimo tanan nimong gasto o tanan nimong mga nabuhat na palit nimo, if worth it ba na tanan para sa imong gitrabahuan. Next is the nature of the medium. The characteristics of the medium being considered can also shape educational communicators' media choices. Consider the following questions. What are the requirements in using particular learning material? A projector, a screen, darkened room, an electric current needed. Is the equipment that is sensitive to handling needed? Are the special skills are needed in handling it? Kasi importante nga, di ba? Isa sa mga media of communication kasi we're talking about educational. And then what if naghatag ka og kanang meeting or nagpa-symposium ka about sex education, and then you don't have enough what do you call this, medium, magtanga ra ang mga tao kung unsaon ang mga ingani na butang, then walay learning, wala sila makasabot sa imuha kay wala man kay mga equipments na gigamit. Kay 'di ba sa panahon karon mas importante na kung mas makitaan or mas dali maka-learn sa katao kung makitaan niya or magunitan niya or ingana ba. Next is how large portable is the medium. So, madaladala ba siya or dili ba siya madaladala? Kailangan ba siya tagduha, tagtulo ka tao para bitbiton? Or pwede ba nimo siya madaladala lang, packet lang? Last one is how does the medium blend to the frequent handling and transport? Can it be stored in a field easily? Or can it last? Just like I said kanina, kaya ba na siya nga masulod lang sa ingani ka dako nga field? Or kailangan siya mas wide or mas dako nga area? And lastly, the situational factors. So situational factors, di man dyan na inaasahan na mga unexpected things na mahitabo. So the situation in which the instructional material will be used includes time and place. So kung asa ganapon, asa ka mag-discuss sa imuhang teaching, And will the material will be used repeatedly? Gamiton ba siya nimo balik-balik? Kung pwede ba siya balikon? Will it have to be transported? If the answer to this question is yes, then the PowerPoint slides may be more practical than large non-projected visuals. So, mas dali naman jud diba karon na magamit ang mga flash drives na isaksak na lang nato sa isa ka laptop. Then, mabasa na jud nato dito tanan ang from diri nga file, matransfer siya dito nga file pamaagi sa flash drive. In summary, the considerations in the media selection may be grouped according into two general factors. Pedagogical factors made up of instructional goals and objectives, learning tasks. So ito na yun ang mga na-discuss natin kanina. Instructional strategy or approach, learner characteristics, and the practical factors composed of the resources. Ito yung practical factors. Kasi nga, di ba, the media selection is grouped into two factors. So, the pedagogical and the practical factors. So, the practical factors composed of resources, the nature of the media being considered, and the situation in which they will be used. So, to conclude this topic discussion, it is very important to select your educational communication media in development. Kasi kagaya nga ng sinabi ko, the more ka mag-give og mga examples, the more ka maghatag og activities, more na mas clear ang imuhang instructions, the more na mag-flash out kag mga cards, etc., mga pictures, mga videos diha, and the more na ibalik-balik nimo, i-recap nimo kung sino mga naistoryahan, then definitely mas daghan og makuha or learnings na makuha mga estudyante. And that's it about my topic discussion about selecting educational communication media in development.